female, female, male, male, other, other, you are, other, male, female, you are, other, you are, other, I am, other, I am, other, black, white, Asian, or Arabic, white, black, Asian, Asian, or Arabic, Arabic, who is African, black, or South American, Asia, where is Asia, who is African, or other, or South American, I am mixed, where is Asia, you are mixed, or other, we are, I am mixed, you are mixed, you are mixed, other, we are, other. Tyler Long, age 17, was a gay student with Asperger's syndrome. Because of his homosexuality and disability, students would steal things from him. They would spit in his food and call him names like faggot. When his mother went to the school to complain about the bullying, the school responded to her saying that boys will be boys, or he just took it the wrong way. One morning, 2 months into his junior year of high school, he strapped a belt around his neck and hanged himself from the top shelf of his bedroom closet. Jessica Logan was an 18-year-old high school senior who sent several nude pictures of herself to her boyfriend. But after they broke up, he shared those photos with hundreds of teenagers at least 7 different high schools. After months of abuse and cyberbullying on Facebook and through text messages from classmates calling her slut and a whore, Jessica hanged herself in her closet. Kenneth Wishen, age 14, was bullied. Death threats were sent to his mobile phone, and he was the subject of a Facebook hate group. He was targeted for being gay. Having come out 1 month before his suicide, Wishen told his mother, "Mom, you don't know how it feels to be hated." The bullying was characterized as aggressive, merciless, and overwhelming. In response to the bullying, Kenneth hanged himself in the family's garage. My story started out in kindergarten. All the kids in my class would call me names and make fun of me. At first, I took it as teasing, but as I grew up, I realized that for some reason, everyone just hated me. I didn't know why, and frankly, I just wanted it to stop badly. It didn't get physical until 6th grade, when this group of kids were calling me names and saying that I should burn in hell because I'd recently come out as trans. These kids would torment me and push me, and since my school had 2 giant staircases, they would push me down them. When my dad had seen bruises, I said, I fell. And now that I look back on it, I should have just told him I was being bullied. But when I was in the 7th grade, I got into more of my fair share of fights. I didn't mean to argue with anyone, but I didn't know how to channel my anger and hurt into something productive. One of my so-called friends decided to teach me a lesson, all because I didn't share the same opinion. Her and her friends ganged up on me after school on my way to the piano room and beat the crap out of me. This year is no better. These kids are asking why I'm not dead yet. And sadly, I don't really have anywhere to turn, and it hurts. Because every time I try to ask for help, nobody ever listens. I still get beat up, and I can't sleep without having nightmares. So, maybe I'll find some help. It seems unlikely, though. Why would anyone want to help me?
Why would anyone want to help?
Why would anyone want to help me?
Why would anyone want to help?
Why would anyone want to help me?
Why would you help?
Why would you help me?
It's so easy to hurt.
It's so easy to hurt me. Why won't you help me?
Why won't you help me?
Why won't you
You just
help me?
hurt.
You just hurt.
You're not there
You're not there for me. Audrey, age 15, died of suicide by hanging due to the cyberbullying and sexual attacks she suffered at the hands of 3 teenage boys she went to school with and knew well. After passing out at a party, Audrey was raped by the 3 boys. They took photos of Audrey during the attack and posted them on the internet. For 8 days after the event, Audrey lived in terror, shame, and fear until she finally decided that suicide was the only way to escape. Her parents had no idea what had happened until Audrey was already dead. Memories of school were happy ones, actually. When I was 10, my parents sent me to boarding school in Kenya, where they're originally from. They thought it would be valuable for me to experience my own culture, and they were right. I had the time of my life and learnt so much. And being in an international school gave me a great understanding of different nationalities and cultural attitudes. All of my classmates were so open-minded and understanding. But although I enjoyed Kenya, I was also really excited to come home to London when I was 13 and started going to a local school. The first few days posed no problems, and I spoke to a few girls in my class. But on the 3rd day, however, I noticed some girls pointing and laughing at me. I tried to ignore it, but later one of them approached me with this look on her face. She asked me about living in Kenya, and I thought she was just interested to hear about my culture and my experiences. But instead, she called me that disgusting word that has been used by ignorant people for years. Nigger, she called me. And she said people like me didn't belong in this school.
Yo, where you from? 'Cause I don't like you, know where you from. Know where you from? 'Cause I don't like you, know where you from. Know where you from? Know where you from? Know where you from? 'Cause I don't like you.
And I felt sick to my stomach. because never before had I experienced racism on such an explicit level before. Things only got worse from that point. Because the girls who were bullying me were in the popular group, most of my class either went along with the racism or just ignored me. And people would whisper and laugh as I walked past. And when the teachers weren't around, they would call me names like Jungle Girl and Shadow. And I knew these were stupid and ignorant comments, but I still took them to heart. And I went from feeling proud and special to feeling ugly and alone.
I want you to reach out. I want you to care. Now why can't we reach out? I need you to protect. Now why won't you reach out? I need you to protect. I need you to protect.
And then it just exploded. They started throwing milk at me at lunchtime and bullying me for how my hair was different to theirs. On a daily basis, I was called names. They told me to go home, that my family should die. The N-word was thrown about regularly. And the bullying made me feel so ashamed of myself that I didn't tell my parents or teachers. And so I suffered alone, running to the toilets on a regular basis to cry. My grades at school were seriously affected, and I didn't have a social life. I was a shell of my former self. So I started cutting school, using fake sick notes and making phone calls pretending to be my mother. But my school, of course, quickly worked out what I was doing and told my parents. My parents were so angry. They thought I was just being a rebellious teenager, so they grounded me. But when I finally told them I was ashamed of my race, they were so shocked and disappointed. I can still remember the look on my mother's face. It took weeks of meetings with teachers for me to finally admit what had been said and who had been saying it. I was so low in myself, I thought I deserved the bullying. But when I did open up, the teachers all told me that racist comments are beyond wrong and ignorant. Even though the bullies were suspended and their parents were called in for meetings, my parents didn't want me to go back. So they put me in a new school, and my first week couldn't have been more different. Of course, in the beginning, I was afraid of the popular groups due to the years of abuse and prejudice that I had experienced. But after making friends with a really cool mix of people, I was made to feel special and normal again. As I was called up in front of the class as the new girl, people seemed genuinely interested in my African background. I wasn't different to these people, but a part of them, and I felt safe and at home again.